Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Nonpartisan Westborough Candidates Forum, sponsored by the Westborough Democratic Town Committee. My name is Gerhard Doring.
And my name is Ava Wallace. We are students at Westborough High School, and we will be your co-moderators for this event. We express our thanks to the Westborough Public Schools for hosting this event, and Westborough Cable TV, and cable producers Karen Henderson and Aiden Horrigan for recording this forum and rebroadcasting it in the coming days to help town residents meet the candidates running for local office.
We also express appreciation to our volunteers, Tom Hubbard, Thomas Gue, Mitch Gitkind, Susan McAllis, Ravi McCullough, William Wallace, Marcia Platt, Jonathan Rappaport, Narai Wallace, Louise Weber, and Don Zenos. Westborough High School volunteers Chloe Flynn, Gerhard Doring, and Ava Wallace. We also express deep appreciation to State Representative Kate Donahue, former Town Democratic Committee Chair, who for so long organized and ran this yearly forum, creating a public service tradition. We also welcome Select Board Member Patrick Welsh and our State Senator Michael Moore. Thank you, Senator Moore and Select Board Member Patrick Welsh for attending.
We want to thank all of those who are in attendance this evening, as well as the many people who will watch it over this coming week on Westborough TV and on YouTube. Finally, we express deep appreciation to all those candidates who are exhibiting civic duty and pride by volunteering their time, expertise, and talents to run for local town office.
Citizens attending in person this evening have the opportunity to submit written questions for various offices. Thus, no one has seen these questions beforehand. If you have a question for any particular office, please see Chloe now. The questions asked will include a variety of topics that will be of general interest to the community.
Tonight's format will include a 2-minute introductory statement by each candidate, plus one more additional audience questions, of which each must be responded to in less than 2 minutes. 2 minutes or less, excuse me. When there are multiple candidates for any given office, the order of responses will be rotated on a random bias. Will Wallace, seated in the front row, please stand. He is our timekeeper and will show you signs as to when you have 30 seconds left, 15 seconds left, or when time is up. Thank you, Will.
When a question is asked, each candidate for that specific office will respond to the same question. We will ask each candidate to give their answer in place, either sitting or standing, and to strictly observe the 2-minute time limit for all statements and answers. We ask that you pass the wireless microphone on the table to the candidate speaking. Please note that this is not a debate, and candidates are asked to not engage with each other or respond to one another.
Finally, a brief comment about public discourse. The town of Westborough has has over a 300-year history of respectful participation in public discussion, debate, and discourse. We can agree, we can disagree with our neighbors, and we always do so respectfully. We expect that all of our audience members and candidates have come to this forum with the spirit of mutual regard and courtesy.
With these thoughts in mind, we ask all audience members to only applaud at the very end of the forum, and not to call out or make remarks. Mill Pond School is a public school. Political demonstrations of any kind are not allowed, either inside or outside.
We are very happy that you are watching and honored that the candidates are here to participate in this forum, so let's begin.
We call up the school committee. Ken gets to the stage. We have 2 incumbent candidates running for 2 seats, both of which are 3-year terms on the Westborough School Committee. They are Sarah Shamsuddin and Yakub Moskow. We will begin with each candidate giving a 2-minute statement, starting with candidate Shamsuddin.
Hello, everyone. I want to start by thanking the Westborough Dems for putting this candidates forum together and inviting me to speak tonight. I know putting this together takes a lot of time and dedication, and I appreciate the opportunity you provide to all of the candidates. I originally ran for school committee in 2023 because I wanted to give back to the town where I completed all of my education. I've been fortunate to have my 3 daughters attend Westborough Public Schools. One has graduated, she's here today. One is graduating this year, and my youngest will begin high school in the fall. I've watched my children and their classmates thrive, just as I did. I've seen my oldest pursue opportunities that were made possible because of the strong foundation she received in these schools. That firsthand experience fuels my commitment to this work. The school committee plays a critical role in shaping our district's future. We are responsible for setting and approving the budget, establishing district policy, negotiating contracts, and overseeing and evaluating the superintendent. These responsibilities directly impact the educational experience of each student and the working environment of every educator in our system. The times we are living in have changed significantly. Public education faces new academic, social, and financial challenges. Our town has become increasingly diverse, and that diversity is one of our greatest strengths. But it also requires thoughtful leadership to ensure that every student, regardless of background, learning style, or need, feels supported and has access to that opportunity. Managing limited resources while meeting the needs of growing and diverse student body is not simple. It requires collaboration, transparency, and a deep commitment to equity and excellence. I remain enthusiastic about this work because I believe a strong public school is the foundation of a strong community, and I'm committed to ensuring that every child in Westborough has the opportunity to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Shamsuddin. Next is candidate Moskal for his opening statement.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting this event. 3 years ago, I stood before you with a vision focused on three things: helping our kids recover from the pandemic, being responsible steward of your tax dollars, and preparing our schools for the rapid rise of AI. First, I'm proud to say that today we're no longer defined by catching up in terms of the pandemic recovery. Because of the incredible dedication of our teachers and the resilience of our students, we've moved from recovery to real momentum. Our district is thriving, and that is a testament to the strength of this entire community. Second, fiscal responsibility. Over the past 3 years, I've learned just how complex and carefully built our district budget truly is. I'm confident it is prepared responsibly and with long-term sustainability in mind. Where we can do better, however, is transparency. You deserve to see exactly how your investments are being used. That's why I formed a new subcommittee to make our financial reporting clearer and more accessible. To me, fiscal responsibility isn't just about spreadsheets, it's about building trust. Finally, let's talk about the future. AI is no longer a sci-fi concept. It's a tool we use every day in our professional lives. But for our students, it's about more than just software. It's about teaching them adaptability and critical thinking in a world that is changing faster than ever. I want to continue using my experience to ensure our schools lead the way, not just in tech, but in human creativity. Serving on this committee has been a deeply rewarding journey. It takes time to do this job well, and I realize I still have a lot to learn. I would be honored to continue this work for our staff, our families, and most importantly, our students.
Thank you, candidates. Our first question will be responded to in the following order: candidates Shamsuddin and Moscow. Here is the first question. What do you plan to emphasize in your next term to ensure high school and other school buildings remain functional and up to date, as well as plan for the future?
Thank you. I think as it stands, we're doing a really good job. We have excellent facilities director who's on top of constantly maintaining and bringing to us reports regarding the status of the buildings. We have Yakub here, who's on the Capital Expenditures Committee, representing the school committee there, and is also very involved in attending any of the, actually all of us have, when we first came onto the committee, both of us, one of the things this previous superintendent did for us was to have us tour all the buildings, which was really nice and a great opportunity for us to assess the status of the buildings and what the needs were. And I think that we get continuous, like I said, updates from our facilities director. It's something that we're considering every budget cycle in order to identify what the needs are, whether we need to have large capital projects that we need to have funded, or whether it's just regular maintenance that we're constantly looking into. And I think that we're just going to continue that. And I think the biggest piece of this is going to be fiscal responsibility and ensuring that we have the amount of dedicated time to assessing the buildings. And if that means that we need to, I've also thought about potentially creating another committee that's going to be looking at this even more closely, because I think we do a great job, and I think there's room for even more improvement to ensure that we're not having emergency situations, or that we're not finding something, you know, right as the budget is coming that we need to have taken care of. We really want to be able to anticipate large expenses and minimize any huge expenses at the last minute. So that's what I would say.
Thank you, candidate Shamsuddin. Next is candidate Moscow.
Thank you. Yes, like Sarah mentioned, I am a member of the Capital Expenditures Planning Committee, and to those people not aware of what this committee does, it takes a lot of work to plan these large expenses, and the town is, across all departments, is planning these expenses well in advance. I believe it's 15 years in advance, so that different departments can report need for those big capital expenses way ahead of time. And so a lot of times at town meeting, people are surprised that, well, here's another roof that needs to be replaced or fixed. But if you track the working of these committees, you will see that, for instance, our department has been asking for a certain building to be fixed for many years, and it's just waiting its turn. In our capacity on the school committee, what we can do is, like Sarah mentioned, and I will support that, create subcommittee to get more involved in monitoring these different building projects. We're going to have a big one at this town meeting for the A and B roof for the high school, which I hope the town will pass. We have wonderful staff. You know, they have a very good process in place for reporting any issues within the building, and then bringing this up to the central administration and eventually to our committee. I have full trust in our staff, and that they're doing a good job, and they're good stewards of our money, and they're working closely with the town to make sure that there is funding in place. One of the changes that's coming from the town side is putting aside extra money for the future to help fund these big projects. So I hope that will help us in those situations where we have unexpected facility problems.
Thank you, candidates. Our second question will be responded to in the following order: Moscow, Shamsuddin. Here is the second question. What are your plans to ensure that Westborough develops an effective, modern, and consistent strategy regarding AI and LLMs in education?
Well, that's a great question for me. I really, you know, I'm a software developer by trade, and I use AI every day for at work, but also for my personal life. And I am increasingly of an opinion that AI has a potential to really reshape our society in a very deep sense. It's not just changing how we do our work, it might really change the way our society functions. Maybe not, but it has that potential. And I think it will, if that happens, we will have to maybe rethink the role of education, and maybe we'll have to rethink the way education is implemented. And I think there is a lot of uncertainty around that. Today you can see that there is a lot of uncertainty and anxiety around jobs. A lot of them are being taken by AI, and I imagine a lot of our students are thinking the same thing. You know, where do I go after which major? You know, how do I know that my job will actually still be there when I graduate? And I can sympathize with this notion, and I think from our district has been doing a lot of work in terms of empowering students and teachers with the latest tools. There is a new tool that you can apply in educational setting almost every day, and they're doing a really great job in doing this. I think, and there is an AI committee or subcommittee right now that's run by the district, where they are looking into more concrete policies and processes to implement in the classrooms. I do think we need a longer conversation about the future of education in general in the context of AI. I hope to participate in that using my own expertise and experience.
Thank you, candidate Moscow. Thank you, school committee candidates. You may leave the stage now.
Oh, I think I didn't get
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
That's my bad.
okay. That's okay.
Sorry.
So I think that this is an extremely relevant question. Obviously, all districts, not just ours, are grappling with this. I initially had gone a lot. I went to the MASC conference recently, and there it was an interesting conversation that was being had in one of the rooms about how to handle AI and what DESE's recommendations regarding this are, and what the MASC would recommend. And it was interesting that the recommendation was actually that schools should not be developing any policies around this right now, because in a week they'll no longer be applicable because it's changing so rapidly. This is a really important issue. I think that we have to figure out how we want to deal with this, because it is right there, it's accessible for the kids, and they are using it, and they should. I think the goal here is to teach them how to responsibly use it, how not to abuse it, and I'm also on a wellness committee, which is led by Roger Anderson and Matthew Mailer, our assistant superintendent, and this was a conversation we were having just the other day regarding the different things that we can do to try and encourage responsible use of AI. One of the things that what we're working on is PD. PD is a big part of this, because nobody knows how to deal with this. Everyone's doing the best they can. We want to build trust around this. We don't want to be accusing our kids of using AI, on the other hand, or making them scared of it, because they need to know how to use it in a responsible fashion that is going to benefit them, and there are ways to do that. I think one of my big things was I had said, I see a lot of emails coming professionally from my colleagues, and sometimes I'll be able to spot right there that, this was AI generated, and I think that we have to set those examples. I think in the classroom, PD is going to really help this in trying to instill in the teachers, confidence in the work that we're doing without the use of AI, even though it's a shortcut, but I think that if the teachers begin to use it, then the kids are going to think that it's okay for them to use it as well. So,
Thank you. Thank you, school committee candidates. You may leave the stage now. Would the library trustee candidates please come to the stage?
Okay, we have 3 candidates running for 3 vacancies in the Office of Trustee of Public Library. The candidates are all incumbents: Deborah Cushman, Dorothy Mello, and Julia Rissmiller. We welcome 2 of the candidates. Unfortunately, Deborah Cushman has a conflict and is unable to attend. We will begin with a video that candidate Cushman has provided for her 2-minute statement.
Hi, my name is Deborah Cushman, and I'm running for re-election to the Library Board of Trustees. I have served as a trustee for the past 5 years, including the past several years as recording secretary. My family, including my husband and our now college-age children, moved to Westborough 10 years ago. One of the first places we visited was the library, and we were immediately struck by how welcoming it was. 8 years ago, my mother also moved to Westborough, and over time our family's use of the library has continued to grow and change. Whether it's checking out a great book, borrowing a museum pass, or helping my mother with tech support, the library offers something for everyone. I began my career as a teacher and in educational publishing, and now for more than 20 years, I've worked as a school psychologist supporting children and families. That work has helped me develop skills that serve me well as a trustee, including budgeting, strategic planning, meeting state and federal requirements, and listening carefully to community needs. Guiding all of my work is a strong belief in public service. This is an exciting time for our public library. The library repair project continues to move forward and remains on track for a September reopening. In the meantime, the library has been thriving in its temporary location, offering books, creative programming, an expanding library of things, and partnerships with other town departments and neighboring libraries. I look forward to seeing all that will be possible when we return to our beautifully repaired space on Main Street. and I thank the voters of Westborough for making that possible. I am proud to call Westborough home, proud of our library, and grateful for the opportunity to serve. Thank you for taking the time to hear from the candidates tonight. My name is Deborah Cushman, and I would truly appreciate your vote on March 10th.
Thank you, candidate Cushman. Next is candidate Mello.
Hi, my name is Dorothy Mello. My name is Dorothy Mello. I've been a trustee for the last, I think it's 15 years. It's been quite a while. And we've seen the library grow and change, and we're looking forward to our newly repaired library, which the library is there to serve everyone, from the smallest patron to the senior citizen patron. There are programs for you at the library in person and in our temporary space. There are also programs in person, and there are programs online as well. So depending on your needs, you can do something and enjoy something at the library. We are looking forward to, as Deb said, the September reopening in our traditional library space with all new equipment and facilities so that everyone can access the library easily, again, from little kids to regular people, older people. And we appreciate the town supporting this repair of our various systems, which have gotten older but will soon be sparkling for you. So thank you very much.
Thank you, candidate Mello. Next is candidate Rismiller.
Hello, I'm Julia Rismiller, and I am running for re-election for a 3-year seat on the Library Board of Trustees. I would like to thank the Democratic Town Committee for hosting this forum and everyone attending this forum for your interest in this year's town election. I live here in Westborough with my 2 school-age children. I'm running for re-election for the Westborough Public Library Board of Trustees because I am committed to continuing to serve our community. I believe in the mission of the Westborough Public Library, which includes providing equitable access of services and access to information for all, inspiring learning and literacy, and collaboration and community engagement. The library repair project has been a tremendous amount of work for all involved, including the library staff, who really did an exceptional job in the building that was in desperate need of repair at the original site on West Main Street, and who have navigated a very successful move into the new temporary space, as well as the library building committee, who meet frequently and work closely with the project manager and architects and carefully consider every single decision, large and small, to make the best use of the new space within the budget of the project. The library director, Kate Caraccio, and the library staff have been doing an amazing job utilizing the physical space and continuing the programming in the temporary space at Bay State Commons. As a trustee, I see my role as a team player, working with the other trustees and collaborating with town committees and organizations to continue to provide services for all residents of Westborough. The Westborough Public Library has a critical role in our community, and it is important for me to be able to continue to support our library in the temporary space and as we move into the newly renovated space downtown and adapt and grow to meet the changing and evolving needs of our community. I would like to conclude by reading the first sentence of the Freedom to Read statement, which was originally issued in 1953 and continues to be so relevant today. The sentence reads, "The freedom to read is essential to our democracy." Please mark your calendar and vote in the upcoming town election on March 10th. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Our first question will be responded to in the following order. Candidates Mello and Rismiller. Here's the first question. What is your plan to ensure adequate funding for the library?
My plan to ensure adequate funding for the library depends on you, our voters, willing to support the library initiatives that Kate and the staff put together.
Thank you, candidate Mello. Next is candidate Rissmiller.
So in terms of, sorry, can you just repeat the question? I just can't remember.
Of course, yeah. What is your plan to ensure adequate funding for the library?
Funding is a really big issue right now, as funding is getting cut across the board, including with libraries. We have an excellent library director and a strong community of adjacent libraries who are working together to, in the Mass Library System, to ensure funding for libraries. And then specifically in the town, we really need the support of the residents. So we have worked extremely hard to get each of the articles passed for the current library repair project. And I think that within that, it's really important just to keep the community involved and continue outreach and making sure that people are aware of the project. So that, because it's such an important part of the community and it serves everyone in the community.
Thank you, candidates. Our second question will be responded to in the following order: candidates Rissmiller and Mello. Here is the second question. How do you plan to deal with citizens who advocate for book bans?
We actually, the group of us, Deb and Dot and myself, we had a book challenge, I guess it was maybe a year ago or 2 years ago, for the first time, I believe, since our previous director had been here for 15 years. So we have a very specific and direct policy in place in terms of how we proceed when someone challenges a book, and we will continue to follow that. And we'll continue to follow the policy.
Thank you, candidate Rissmiller. Next is candidate Mello.
One of our jobs as trustees is to establish policy for the library, and we have worked to establish policy so that every book is available to every patron.
Thank you, library trustee candidates. You may leave the stage now. Please exit to your left. Would the planning board candidates please come to the stage?
The planning board candidates are both incumbent, the planning board candidates are both incumbents, Christina Kelleher running for a 5-year term, and candidate Caroline Kent Ford Reagan running for a 3-year term. We welcome one of the candidates. Unfortunately, Caroline Kent Ford Reagan has a conflict and is unable to attend. We have a written statement from Caroline Reagan.
Hello, and thank you for the opportunity to share a bit about myself. My name is Caroline Reagan, and I have the privilege of serving on the Westborough Planning Board since May of last year. I originally became interested in this role because I care deeply about our community, not only as a resident, but also as a parent of 2 children in our public schools, and I wanted to contribute in a meaningful way to the town we call home. Professionally, I work as an in-house attorney where I spend my time navigating regulations, balancing different interests, and solving problems through collaboration. Those skills have been especially valuable on the planning board, where thoughtful discussions and careful decision-making are essential. Over the last several months, I have learned a great deal and truly enjoy working alongside dedicated board members and town staff. I am also a planning board representative on the Sustainable Westborough Committee and a Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission. If elected, I will continue supporting responsible development that respects the character of Westborough while also planning thoughtfully for its future, including housing, local businesses, and infrastructure that serve all of our residents. I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve and would be honored to continue this work on behalf of our community. Thank you.
Candidate Kelleher, you will give your 2-minute opening statement, followed immediately by 1 or 2 questions appropriate for your office. Please give your opening statement.
Thank you. My name is Chris Kelleher, and I'm running for re-election to the Planning Board. I first want to say thank you to the Democratic Town Committee for hosting. Thank you to you all for attending, and a special thank you to our high school participants. I really do think it's a wonderful opportunity, and I really appreciate the students' involvement in moderating and helping facilitate tonight's activities. So I've been in Westborough for 12 years. My husband and I have 2 young children, one at Fales and one here at Mill Pond. I started my involvement with the town as a member of the Master Plan Implementation Committee, which really allowed me to hear and learn from the various department leads to better understand processes, priorities, and challenges that weren't necessarily obvious to me as a member of the community. I'm currently sitting on the Planning Board and the Community Preservation Committee. And since being elected to the Planning Board, I have attended statewide municipal trainings on how planning boards function, as well as on zoning. I'm a career marketer, and I've spent my career at large global brands that have been headquartered here in Massachusetts. And from that, I bring with me experience in budgeting, project management, contract negotiations, as well as really focusing on communication and making sure that we are giving the right information to the right stakeholders. This past year, the board has really been focused on increasing transparency and communication. I'm very proud of the changes that we've made and excited to continue that.
Thank you, Candidate Kelleher.
Here is the first question. What community goals should help guide in planning to make decisions about redistricting?
Well, I would never want to speak for the school committee, but from a planning perspective, it's important to understand, of course, what's in the pipeline, which they have been doing. It's important to make sure that whatever we're doing is long-term. So I think what the school committee has been doing in terms of looking at upcoming residential changes as a large part of their consideration is important. I know that we're not necessarily placing those newer communities just yet, but knowing what's coming is of course critical to make sure that we have really balanced schools. My kids, I have a son at Fales, my daughter was there, and they are very fortunate to be in a lovely brand new building, and their class sizes are about 14 or 15. I really am glad that we are taking this moment to make sure that everyone is getting fair and equitable opportunities for education.
Thank you, Candidate Kelleher.
Here is the second question. What plan do you have for redistricting the downtown area?
Yes, so for the zoning for the downtown area?
I just have redistricting the downtown area. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So for the zoning for the downtown area, we actually have an upcoming, I hope everyone attends the upcoming town meeting, where we have an article that revisits updated zoning for the downtown area based on feedback that we've gotten from the town from the last town meeting. So really the intent with the new zoning is to simplify. We have heard from businesses, residents, and as well as members who work at the local churches, really encouraging us to continue forward with rezoning. One example is that for the Unitarian Church, they actually own a 4-unit apartment building, or it's connected to it, and they don't want to be landlords anymore. But because of the current zoning, it's very difficult for them to sell that property. There are other cases in the downtown area where people literally have, in a single lot, half their lot is residential, half their lot is business. And that can be extremely difficult, cumbersome, and as a resident, as someone who's trying to make changes to their property, it's very limiting, confusing, and can take a lot longer to get that done. So with the current zoning, it's really to simplify. It's to make existing buildings that are technically non-conforming into conforming. So for anything that is getting a new zone, they'll be moved into the downtown business zone. One of the things that I think is most important about changing some of the...
Thank you, Candidate Kelleher.
Can I say one more tiny thing? One of the most important things is this actually helps us keep our historic components to the town, because if something is in the downtown business district, it's much more difficult to change it. So this actually helps us maintain the historic downtown.
Thank you. Thank you, Planning Board candidates Kelleher and Reagan. You may leave the stage now. Would the Select Board candidates please come to the stage?
Next, we have one Select Board candidate, incumbent Ian Johnson, who is running for a 3-year term. We will begin with candidate Johnson giving a 2-minute statement.
Thank you very much. As I said, my name is Ian Johnson. I'm running for re-election to Select Board. I've served the last 5 terms, or 15 years, on the Select Board, and 9 years prior to that on the Advisory Finance Committee. Before I go any further, though, I do want to thank the Westborough Democratic Town Committee for hosting this. It really is a tremendous public service for folks to hear from all of the candidates in preparation for going to the ballot to cast their votes. Also, thank you to Westborough TV, who just does a phenomenal job around this town, bringing public meetings like this to those that can't be here in attendance. So thank you for that. Just real quickly, why I'm running for re-election. I really am passionate about the town of Westborough. I'm a 3rd generation Westborough resident. And growing up in this town, I've seen a lot of changes. And I think that I can use my talents to help Westborough grow and be welcoming to all of its residents, as well as the businesses that run their corporations or offices here. And that really is an important thing in our town, is to have that balance of residents as well as commercial properties. I think that there's a lot that we do as a board, myself and my 4 fellow board members, to really set policy and importantly hire key personnel in this town, like the town manager, our police chief, fire chief, DPW director, and legal counsel. And I look forward to running, and I hope that you will remember to vote for me on March 10th. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Johnson. Here's the first question. How does the Select Board evaluate applications for new housing in relation to its impact on the affordability of the school budget?
Great question. When I first started on the Select Board, we actually were the kind of endpoint for what we call site plan review. But in working as a board with our fellow boards, in essence the Planning Board, determined that we felt that the Planning Board should be that final stop for site plan review. They had the expertise in that area. So in that pivot, we are now a key input that we hear from developers prior to their final appearance before the Planning Board, and offer our considerations and comments to the planning board. I think it's important for us as we think about taxes in this town to think about any development that comes in and think about it in terms of what is in the best interest of the town of Westborough. And I think that as one of the 5 board members, what I like to try to do is really listen. I think that's the most important thing we can do, is listen and ask the right questions, and then from there provide our recommendations back to the planning board on what we think makes sense for Westborough. In terms of affordability, it is a key component. I was pleased on Friday to be part of the ribbon cutting for our first affordable housing unit that's come out of our Affordable Housing Trust, and is really something special for me because I think this town has a lot to offer, but we need to make sure that we can offer it to anybody that wants to be a resident in this town. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Johnson. Here is the second question. What conversations should the Select Board have or have had with the Westborough Police concerning interaction with ICE and DHS?
I think it's an important question. The police in this town are here to protect all individuals in this town. They have policies, procedures, and laws that they need to follow and enforce. For us, we've worked really closely with the police chief and the police department on ensuring that they follow those rules and policies that they need to. At the present time, the police department does not participate in terms of any things with ICE. It's not something that is a requirement of them or something that they are held to by law. I think we just need to make sure that our police chief, and through his lines of command, ensure that they follow the laws of the Commonwealth and the laws of the U.S. government in protecting us as citizens and doing the right thing on behalf of the town and doing it in a lawful manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Select Board Candidate Johnson. You're welcome to leave the stage to the left. Would the Westborough Housing Authority candidates please come to the stage? Next, we have 2 candidates who are running for 1 seat on the Westborough Housing Authority for a single 5-year term, Beth Johnson and Carla Cook. Unfortunately, candidate Cook has a conflict and is unable to attend. Candidate Riz Miller will read candidate Cook's 2-minute statement.
Hi, so I'm reading on behalf of Carla Cook. She is unfortunately sick today, and this is her statement. 8 years ago, my husband and I visited numerous towns in Massachusetts in preparation for our move for his job. When we drove into Westborough, we just knew this was home. Today, almost 7 years later, I'm asking for your vote for the resident board seat for the Westborough Housing Authority, because I believe every person in this town deserves to live with dignity. I've seen what a kind and generous community this is, and I've also seen firsthand that when it comes to housing, there's much more we can do together. For nearly 20 years, I worked as a social worker in organ and tissue transplant. Today, I work with students in special education at Mill Pond. Advocacy isn't something I learned in a classroom, it's something I've practiced every single day of my career. Listening, showing up, making sure people feel heard, creating change. That's exactly what I intend to bring to this board. If elected, I will fight for transparency because all residents deserve to understand the policies that affect their lives in plain language, not legal jargon. I will work to modernize our housing procedures so they reflect current law and make the most of every dollar in our budget. And I will actively engage with you, the residents of Westborough, because your voice belongs at that table, and I want to be the one who brings it there. I also believe we need stable, dedicated leadership, and I'm committed to helping find a permanent housing director who knows this town and shares its values. This community has shown so much kindness to my family, my husband Andy, our kids Annalise and Jackson, and even our pets. Now I want to give back. I'm Carla Cook, and I'm running to serve every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, candidate Cook and candidate Rismiller, for reading. Candidate Rismiller, you're welcome to leave the stage. And then, your opening statement, candidate Johnson.
Thank you. I'm Beth Johnson. I've lived in Westborough for 42 years, raised my 2 children here, and I have served maybe 15 years ago on the Library Board of Trustees for 2 3-year terms, and currently serving a 2-year term as president of the 100th Town Chorus. I became aware that there was a position available on the Housing Board and thought I would like to do something for our town. And I think that this is an important board because it is so expensive to live in Westborough. I welcome a diverse community of people, and I support that. The board is responsible for overseeing financial administration, setting policy, and charting current and future direction of the Housing Authority, as well as advocating for affordable housing. Currently, the Westborough Housing Authority owns and manages 110 housing units. The Westborough Housing Authority Board of Commissioners is made up of 5 members. The Westborough Housing Authority is committed to assist low-income families with safe, sanitary, and affordable housing opportunities as they strive to achieve self-sufficiency and improve the quality of their lives. The Westborough Housing Authority is committed to operating in a fiscally responsible, ethical, and professional manner. The role is to work with applicants to ensure their housing needs are met.
Next, Town Moderator incumbent candidate John Arnold, running for a 3-year term. We will begin with candidate Arnold giving a 2-minute statement.
Thank you. I'm John Arnold. I live at 251 West Main Street, and I've lived in town since 1965, and I'm seeking my 5th term as Town Moderator. And I'd like to thank everyone here tonight in person or watching in the future, and I'll ask for your vote. I'd also like to thank the Democratic Town Committee, Westborough TV, the school department, and everyone involved in this event, as well as those attending in person or watching online later. As moderator, my primary job is to preside a town meeting and to appoint people to various committees, including the Advisory Finance Committee. To me, the most important part of running town meeting is to ensure that the process is as fair, effective, and efficient as possible. Prior to first serving as moderator 12 years ago, I learned to be a moderator by watching and observing Joe Harrington, my predecessor, and I'd like to thank him for setting the example for those who come after him for all his years of service and for really showing us how it can be done. For the last 12 years as moderator, I've helped the town prove to the world and to anyone watching that civil discourse and true democracy can still work. Town meeting and the voters have evolved over the 300 years of our history, and together we've been able to navigate topics both controversial and routine. Throughout my term as moderator, I've tried to lead by example and teach people about town meeting before, during, and after each meeting. It hasn't been perfect, but when mistakes have been made, I've tried to correct them and learn from them. I first introduced myself to the voters in Westborough 49 years ago when I sat at a stage similar to this down in Memorial Hall and Town Hall and ran and served as a library trustee for 15 years. Before and after that, I've continually served various committees and boards at the state and town level. So for over 50 years, I've served as an elected or appointed official to the people of Westborough and the people of Massachusetts. And I hope that over these years of service, I've demonstrated the qualities that have earned your trust and your vote. And I hope you will consider voting for me for another 3 years as moderator. Also,
Thank you, Candidate Arnold.
Thank you, Candidate Arnold. Here is here's the first question. Do you support the ability of teens to participate in town meetings?
As moderator, my job is to be fair and impartial, and an important part of the job is to not necessarily disclose how I personally feel about any of the issues. So I will not tell you how I feel, but I will tell you that as I listen to town meeting and listen to everyone, I pay close attention, and I give everyone, whether they are for or against any topic, the time and attention they deserve so they can have their voice heard, and so they can try to essentially convince the voters of town to vote their way. And at the end of the evening, I consider the town meeting successful if everyone feels they've had their chance to sway people one way or the other and let the votes fall where they may, and then to leave through the parking lot, essentially, as friends and neighbors, and to keep Westborough the great town that it is. So sorry for not directly answering your question.
All good. Thank you, candidate Arnold. Here's the second question. This is second question. I confess that I left the last town meeting because it was far too long. How do you plan to balance the right of citizens to speak with the necessity of moving the meeting along?
Okay, I'll start this by saying if anyone wants to learn more about how I think people can most effectively work a town meeting, I'm having an event at the library on Friday afternoon, this Friday, March 6th, from 1:30 to 2:30, where I'll talk about the rules. But I will also emphasize that the town meeting is the voters' meeting. I believe that the purpose of town meeting is to be our town's legislative body, which means that it deserves fair and deliberate thought about what goes into each vote. Sometimes it's quick, sometimes it isn't. Through my course of 12 years as moderator, I've tried to institute and more firmly enforce time limits, where each person gets to each speech to be 2 or 2.5 minutes, and limit presentations to 10 minutes, and then see where the conversations go where they may. However, I'll also let people know that as voters, it's also up to them. Although my job is to determine if and when I believe there's been adequate deliberation, people can vote to terminate debate once I feel there's adequate debate, and then we can decide whether to vote or to talk on. And also, if people feel that any evening is going on too long, once the meeting starts, I run the meeting, but the meeting is the voters' meeting, and if anyone ever feels we should adjourn and take a break, and if they think the benefit of the legislative process is to leave and come back another night, any voter may make a motion to adjourn the meeting as long as they make the motion to say when it's adjourned and when it will be reconvened in terms of a time and place. So I think we can all prepare better our remarks, like I did here, have something to speak rather than speaking off the cuff, and just be ready to move things along and to let me know when you think we're ready to vote.
Thank you, candidate Arnold. You're welcome to leave the stage to the left. Would town clerk candidate Deborah E. Ledoux please come to the stage?
Last but not least, we have town clerk candidate Deborah Ledoux, who is running for a 3-year term. We will begin with candidate Ledoux giving a 2-minute statement.
Good evening, and thank you for having me this evening. I've been a proud resident of Westborough since 1973. My roots go back to the late 1800s when my great-grandparents settled in town. My great-grandfather was the superintendent, not of schools, but of the underwear factory. And my grandfather, who was born at 44 West Street, was the first class to graduate out of what is now known as the Forbes Municipal Building. I also went through the Westborough Public Schools, as did my 3 amazing daughters. I studied law in college and worked as a paralegal for a couple law firms. I also worked in various town departments here before being hired as the assistant town clerk 12 years ago. I've learned so much over the past 12 years. The office of the town clerk is complex and hard, but so very rewarding. There's no way I can explain what my office does daily in 2 minutes. I may have met you in my office while you were getting a dog license, submitting a town census, filing a business certificate, absentee voting, asking for notary services, or requesting a copy of a vital record such as a birth or death certificate. I may have even married you or someone you know. What I can tell you quickly about our office is we do a lot, and it is mostly guided by the Mass General laws and our own town charter. We preserve the vital records of the town. We certify local government activities, including elections. We work with other town officials and town departments, and we provide services to the entire community. I care deeply for this town and its residents, and it is my absolute honor to serve as your town clerk, and I look forward to serving for 3 more years. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Ledoux. Here's the first question. Will you work with other local town clerks or the state government to prevent federal meddling in the elections in Westborough?
So I am the treasurer of the Worcester County City and Town Clerks Association. I'm a member of the Mass Town Clerks Association. We have 351 cities and town clerks in Massachusetts. We meet regularly. We are going up to the State House for Clerks Day on the Hill on April 9th. We work closely, we're educated, we're always trying to learn. We do meet with legislators, senators. We do pass along what our experiences are, but we do stay in touch on the state level and what's coming down the line as far as elections.
Thank you, Candidate Ledoux. Here is the second question. What is your plan to engage young voters to become active participants?
So first of all, we're always looking for students, National Honor Society. They'll come down into our office. We love to get involved with civics. We can have 2 high school students involved with our elections. I did reach out to Brian Callahan, who's the principal of the high school. We can have 2 in the precincts on election day. Sometimes we've had them help us with ballots, supervised of course, but I always love high school students to come down and to get involved, and I always welcome them in our office.
Thank you, Candidate Ledoux. You are welcome to leave the stage.
Well, thank you, candidates. I ask that all candidates please stand, and let's give them a warm round of applause.
This concludes our candidates forum for 2026. We thank all of the candidates for putting themselves forward for serving our community. We again thank the Westborough Public Schools and Mill Pond Schools for their generous hospitality in hosting this event, and thank our volunteers, if they could all please stand, for helping with today's forum. We also thank Westborough Cable TV for filming today's forum, to be viewed on Westborough Cable TV channel and YouTube during the week.
Viewers, we have one last task for you, and that is to please vote. On Tuesday, March 10th, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. is our town election of these candidates who have been speaking tonight. The election will be held at Westborough High School. Finally, the annual spring Westborough Town Meeting will be held at Westborough High School on Saturday, March 21st, starting at 9 a.m. Please attend and let your voice be heard.
As our representative, Kate Donahue, has stated often, democracy is not a spectator sport. It requires all of us to exercise our voices through the ballot box, so please vote. We hope this forum has helped to engage and educate our voters as to the issues in this upcoming election.
On behalf of the forum sponsor, Westborough Democratic Town Committee, I'm Gerhard Doring.
And I'm Eva Wallace. We wish you all a pleasant evening and thank you for participating in our democracy.
And kudos to Gary and